Some of it they got because Huelga itself became such a powerful force and an inspiration. So now let's go into the personal and the social objectives. We've got something about your personal reasons for becoming involved and becoming activists. But now we've got to figure out what will it take to engage this next generation, and what are the social programs that take priority for this next generation. What can we do? I mean, I'll just throw out a bunch of them, okay? I mean, one of the things that I discussed with Joe Rosso, who was one of the original leaders, although he wasn't a Brown Beret, he was a leader in the Chicano community. And one of the things we talked about was the really serious need for mentoring. Now, Frances was fortunate because her mother could be her mother and her mentor. But had her mother not been there for her, where would she have found mentoring?
Where would I have found mentoring?
Yes.
Well, I would have to say it would come from... My mom has mentored me really well.
Yes, but you see,
really been,
if she hadn't been there, what if you...
Where would I have guidance?
Right, the kind of...
Guidance. Well, let me tell you something. The counselors in our school, they're not doing a sufficient job. They're not. There's no personal communication between the counselor and the student. It's just every year. I would have to say, like, in 1 year, I've seen my counselor only one time. And that's for graduation check, to check if I'm doing well and so on. But there's no personal relationship going on between the counselor and the students. So I wouldn't have got that guidance or mentoring from my counselor either. And I believe the only counseling I would have achieved would be from a teacher and my teachers and friends, I have to suppose, because friends, adolescents, peers are the greatest influence for a growing up.
And that could be a very...
And it could be negative or it could be positive.
Yes.
Definitely, it can be negative or it can be positive, depending on your peers' point or your peers' ideology of life, or how all the way around. So I would have to. There needs to be something done. We need some programs, because counselors. Not the question.
Mentoring can be done by people in any occupation who are willing to take under their wing some younger people with whom there is a mutual identification, and to try to help them move towards some of the goals, the career goals that they might have. In other words, if you're a teacher, and obviously you're teaching, you're mentoring, you're counseling many children at the same time, but a mentor is somebody who takes particular interest in particular mentees and spreads themselves to provide for those mentees the boost up.
Let me explain something. There is no such mentoring for our new generation. That is why our new generation is losing identity. Because extremely is needed in order to maintain a strong self-esteem and do well in schools.
Yes.
Again, prevention, remediation, all these programs, intervention, are not reaching our new generation, our new youth. They don't. Something very important, like in the curriculum of instruction, they don't see their future, they don't see their history, they don't see that society is not really accepting them, and then they welcome. And there is no one interesting, really, to mentor this generation of Mexican Americans. No. Why? Let me tell you. You mentioned before, what is your future? What do you think the future? Okay, my future is this. I'm gonna get strong. politically, economically, socially. Demographics, the numbers is saying it. The numbers speaking up. But education is the base. And this is how kids is being victimized. Our children are victims of conspiration, Machiavelli conspiration by those selfish people who just don't want to see the new generation of Mexican Americans get educated because they see us as a danger. I don't know why. They should, that kind of people should see the reality. These kids will pay the Social Security for you, for the next new retirement people. Why shouldn't help them? Why shouldn't give them the right programs, the right mentoring, the right instruction? Why? Our kids being denied to have access to equal opportunities in the education system. So you have the answer. Suffering and conspiration. The kids, everybody's conspiring against our children. Why?
Well, give me some suggestions about how we can engage this next generation in taking social action.
I think this generation should be engaged if we make them strong with this identity, accepting them. If people doesn't accept you, you're not going to feel welcome getting into certain society. So I think if this system help this new generation, accepting them and helping them in an appropriate manner, it will be the engaged the system is looking for. Because this system really needs to engage this generation.
Exactly. But the question is, how can an organization such as the Brown Berets engage this next generation? How can an organization such as the Brown Berets set an agenda for social action? I mean, you said, Lorena has...
We have a very different agenda right now. Our agenda is 100% educational. Okay, go ahead.
Francis.
Well, we need to start in the classrooms, like for how to get the new generation for social change and so on. That's what you said. Everything starts at a young age, the development of a child and so on, but everything starts in the classroom for a child. The way a human being thinks, a learning process that happens throughout the years. Now, we're talking about mentoring a child, right? Mentoring or a peer. We can't go back into kindergarten and start all that mentoring and so on. So what we need to do is we need to educate our generation, my generation, about the past. Like one of our agenda points is getting more history of the contributions of the native people of this land, this continent, to the shaping of America. I recently just finished American history, and throughout the whole course in American history, they did not mention how my people, La Raza, the native people of this continent could own the land and contribute to the shaping of America. In the Civil War, thousands of soldiers fought that were native to this land. In the Civil War, even the Revolutionary War as well. World War I, the Vietnam, they didn't mention how many Mexican Americans died in Vietnam.
Also for Americans,
so
they were involved.
It really starts with the teaching of that, of our culture. The high school walkouts that happened in the 60s.
67.
In 67 was not mentioned either in the civil rights section of the book.
History.
So it's a standard for us to know that the civil rights and struggles of different minority people, the Chinese, we learned about the Chinese, the Japanese, how they were in internment camps, and really the African American movement in particular. That's what we really learned about. But the only thing we learned about for our people's struggle was just on the farm workers. And it was only a paragraph. So maybe out of 1,000 pages of history, we were mentioned in the paragraph.
That has to do with identity, self-esteem,
and that triggers, unconsciously wise, it triggers my generation that they're not part of society, that they don't see themselves as Americans. Okay, why should I graduate from high school?
Whatever.
It's all on the unconsciousness of the brain.
And at the same time,
So we need to educate.
one of the points that is missed in all of this is how much in common these minority groups have and how common their struggle, because somehow or other that lesson never got taught when we have race riots in jails. We have people in jail who don't understand that injustice is their common denominator.
Well, judicial system always has been unfair with the minorities. And jails, don't forget, are business, our system business against our people. Let me tell you something. There is so much injustice and unfairness. But I think if this system wants to engage us, they need, first of all, they need to start accepting us, and they need to recognize we are Americans, 100%.
Need to trot out the Treaty of Guadalupe Hidalgo again?
It's something this government, this system always has been ignoring.
Always been.
But
And they
Mexican has the right to come in and out anytime they want. We don't need green card. We don't need green card. Read the Guadalupe Treaty, Hidalgo.
And the treaty.
We don't need to speak English if I don't want. It's more rights there.
So, do you suggest that we give copies of the Treaty of Guadalupe Hidalgo to every high school student?
I think every single high school student should have the right to acknowledge their identity and they know the truth. But this system is hiring. And I always say this Machiavellic system is conspiring against a new generation of Mexican Americans. Why? Because we're facing different generation. And you know what? That division is prefabricated. It's prefabricated. It's easy to make fun of Americans with Mexicans. So, you know, we have a lot of manipulation. The government say too much gangs, too much violence, too much. Of course, it's going to be. It's too much manipulation. Kids are high school are manipulated to violence. Invited them to go fight Iraq. It's no violence. Huh? Look at the tobacco. Look the rifle corporation. Why they? Okay, you know the highest rate of kids who die is alcohol. Alcohol. Okay,
So
the
we're
government
into the-
has everything in hands. They just don't want to do anything.
we're into the health issues. Do you guys have something to say about that? The health and justice issues.
Justice issues. The law, they're writing laws, especially in my part of LA County, which is the Antelope Valley. They're writing laws that are created to get rid of us. It's almost like they're trying to erase an entire generation of people from the map. Those that they can't deport, they want to arrest. They're building bigger jails. If they can't deport you, they're going to arrest you. If they can't do that, they're going to try to ship you out in some other way, ship you out to Iraq or something else. And it's just, if the community doesn't start waking up soon, this is going to get pretty ugly. It's going to get worse. I think so.
How can you engage the young generation to wake up the community, to take action?
These young kids out there on the street are a lot smarter than we were when I was growing up. And there's some smart young kids out there, and you have to be out there in the community. You have to be an example. You have to show them. And like you said, mentor. And especially, you have to be consistent. You can't say, okay, I'm going to help you with this, and then next week, oh, I don't have time to help you with it. Then they lose interest and they go somewhere else. A lot of times with one of the students that I worked with, she said she had no idea how to do a senior project, and she didn't care about graduating because she knew she was going to. You know, and all it took was sitting down with her, 20 minutes on the computer, showing her how to put it all together, and she's going off to college. So that was good. So a lot of times it's taking the interest to talk to them, and if you show them that interest, if you give them that time, if you can.